Morning, guys. Welcome to the current affairs session, right, where I'll be discussing all of the important topics necessary for UPSC. Today, we are going to discuss the newspaper of 20th June, right? Still don't understand the reason why government is only focusing on Telegram. Right? There can be many channels. They can use WhatsApp, they can use Facebook, they can use n number of what do you call social media sites or apps to circulate things. It's not only Telegram. It has happened in Telegram. That doesn't mean that Telegram is the only culprit. It's okay if government wants to do some things without actually what do you call making the people angry. So it's okay. As long as it's doing, it's fine. Okay. Today, first thing we'll be discussing is this particular editorial. It says that India's cheapest power is here. The grid must catch up. Clearly, as the headline is saying that India's cheapest power is here. What is the cheapest power in India? Obviously, it is not oil because oil is very volatile. You've seen through the global events, global wars, every time there is a war, every time there's a shortage, the petrol prices or the diesel prices shoot up. So it's obviously not petrol. What is cheaper? Obviously, it is the renewable energy. So this article is talking about how renewable energy is the cheapest energy right now, but we do not have enough transmission lines to transmit the amount of capacity. Let's say we have a 50 gigawatt solar power plant. Right? We have a 50 gigawatt solar power plant, but we do not have a transmission line which transmits the 50 gigawatt solar. So what is the use of generating 50 gigawatts? It is like building a mall in a land where there are no roads connection and there are no people around. What is the use of creating a mall where there are no people and there are no land routes? What is the use? There's no absolute use. So that is what this particular editorial is saying. Uh, uh, it's saying that India has firstly 50 gigawatts of renewable energy, and out of the 50 gigawatts of renewable energy, it's stranded. It is stranded because most of the power plants do not have the transmission lines. As it does not have the transmission lines, it is getting wasted. Right. First thing is that solar and wind are cheaper. Solar and wind energy are cheaper. So that is the first thing. Second thing is that renewable energy power plants, let's say be it solar or be it wind, they can be completed within 12 to 18 months. However, the transmission lines that are required will be constructed or it will take nearly 3 to 5 years for them to construct. So within the span of 3 to 5 years, they can construct nearly 3 to 4 what do you call solar power plants or wind power plants. So what does it say? It says that we have the capacity of building all of the power plants, but we do not have the capacity or time to build the transmission lines. So obviously there is no use when there is high amount of generating capacity and there is no transmission lines, right? And obviously why it matters? It matters because India currently has what do you call 250 gigawatts, right? Nearly 250 gigawatts. It says that it has 250 gigawatts of renewable energy today, and 100 gigawatts is under construction, and it will need nearly 2000 gigawatts by 2050. Why? The reason we need 2000 gigawatts by 2050 is because we are shifting towards electricity. Which electricity? Electrical vehicles. And if we are shifting towards electrical vehicles, we cannot depend on coal or fuel. If we keep depending on them, what will happen? Obviously, more amount of consumption and more amount of pollution will happen. The main reason we are bringing in electrical vehicles is to reduce the pollution. So if you are generating electricity from the power plants, what will happen? More amount of pollution. So we have to generate electricity from renewable energy only. So we have to go 2000 gigawatts to meet the demand. Firstly, meet the demand. Secondly, electrify our vehicles. Right? Those are the two things why we have to focus more on transmission lines and also the power plants. Okay. Now there are four ways to unlock this. The article is saying that there are four ways to unlock this. First way is by adding battery storage. If you add battery storage, what will happen? You will be able to save all of the electricity that is being generated without losing it. Then whenever there is high amount of demand, you can actually transmit through various transmission lines and connect to the electricity grid. That is the first suggestion that is given. Second suggestion that is given is that connecting to old coal transmission lines. The problem with today's power plants is that we have high amount of generating capacity but low amount of transmission lines. But this was not the problem in the back days. What was there? The power plant had less capacity, whereas the transmission lines had more capacity. So coal power plants, if the particular coal power plant had 1 gigawatt of energy generating capacity, the transmission lines had 5 gigawatts. What does it say? It's saying that it is reduced capacity. I mean, reduced capacity and wastage of the capacity of transmission lines. Instead of wasting the capacity of transmission lines, we can actually connect the renewable energy to these kind of transmission lines so that we are using it effectively. So that is the second solution that is given in this particular editorial. First solution is adding battery storage. Second solution is connecting it to old transmission lines. And the third solution is like using the existing substations. Using the existing substations so that we can transmit the amount of energy, right? And the last solution that this particular editorial has given is that instead of, as the old substations or old transmission lines are very bad, what would they do? They heat up very fast. So they are, the main measure that they're giving is changing of conductors, right? When we change the conductors, what will happen? It will be easier for two transmission, right? When transmission will be easy, the heat will reduce, and also the voltage laggants will reduce. Thereby, there is no wastage in current. So that is another measure that is given in this particular editorial. It is not that useful for what you call prelims, but it's useful for mains when it comes to the stats. You can use, the reason I talked about this particular editorial is because I wanted to tell you about the stats. We can use the stats in GS3. GS3 when it comes to environment or science and technology or these kind of aspects. Okay, only then you will be able to use them effectively. Otherwise, there's no much use of this particular article. Next, we have defection as a merger. This particular editorial is saying that 10 schedule 10 schedule is talking about anti-defection law, and obviously anti-defection law had come into existence mainly because they wanted to keep all the politicians or all the members of the political party to stop moving constantly. At one point of time, people started moving uh, very frequently. So that is why the slogan came Ayaram Gayaram, because he came, he took the opportunity, he took the money, and he went away. Again, he took the money, he come back, he came back. So that is how the politics happened, and due to that, in 1985, right, in 1985, through the 52nd constitutional amendment, we came with the anti-defection law. And who is the main person who actually decides whether that particular person is disqualified under anti-defection? That is nothing but the speaker or the chairman. Speaker or chairman would be the people who would decide whether that particular person will be disqualified under 10th schedule. Okay, and there is no time period for that particular person to decide whether that person is disqualified or not. And also, there were two exceptions, right? Two exceptions. First was the 1/3 split. Second is the 2/3 merger. 1/3 split and 2/3 merger. But there was a problem. 1/3 split became more easy for all the politicians to move. So what did the politicians, what did the government do? Its government saw that this particular split which they are talking about is harmful, because people are using this loophole, and as they are using this loophole, there are many people who are frequently changing the political party. So what did government do in the 91st constitutional amendment? 91st constitutional amendment that happened in 2003, it removed this clause. It removed the 1/3 split clause, and it let the 2/3 merger clause stay. The main theme of this editorial is that the usage of anti-defection law is being misused. They're finding loopholes, they're finding everything, they're doing everything, and they're misusing the anti-defection law is what this particular editorial is talking about. Now, how are they misusing this particular anti-defection law? As I told you, 1/3 split is nothing but what? Split is nothing but, for example, let's say 10 people are there. 7 people go away, 3 people stay. This is called split. Okay. But merger is completely different. What is merger? Merger is when a political party meets or agrees to merge with another political party. Merging is combine. Okay. So that is the reason they put this clause. But the politicians now, right? We have seen many cases of politicians, right? We have Trinamool Congress people going into NDA. Then you have AAP people going into BJP, right? Then you have Shiv Sena, what do you call Shiv Sena people going and meeting and joining the faction of Eknath Shinde. These are all the examples that are given in this particular editorial. They're saying that while all of this is considered right, you're saying that 2/3 members are actually leaving, but is that considered split or is it considered as a merger? Merger usually happens when two parties or two companies are trying to combine. Okay, let's say Trinamool Congress is there and BJP is there. And when they actually believe that they both have same ideology and they both want to combine, then it's called a merger. Okay, but what is happening here? They are splitting. Out of the 100 people, 50 people are going away, and they're calling this as merger. It's not merger. It is called a split. But why is the government? Why is the Supreme Court not talking about anything? Because it is very what you call vague in nature. Merger is Supreme Court says that merger is not only about legislators. It is also talking about the political party. Political party is not only legislators, it is also the members, it is the party workers. All of these people together form what? A political party. So when we are talking about merger, we have to see 2/3 members of the political party, not 2/3 members of the legislature. Okay, so that is what this particular editorial is saying. While they are using them, what you call misusing the loophole that is present in the 10th schedule, it is not right because that is technically not a merger. Just legislators are moving, it is not a merger. If the party believes that their ideology is same and they want to move away to that particular political party, then it is called a merger. So it is not only the legislators but also the members of the political party and the workers, party workers, all the members together, 2/3 members, if they go, then it is called a merger. So that is what the Supreme Court is saying, and that is what is present in the article. You can actually use it in GS2, obviously, GS2 polity, right? You can use it in GS2 polity. Other than that, we have this particular editorial. It's saying that right of way, right of way, India needs to build more footpaths to help pedestrians walk freely. Basically, what happened is recently a case has happened, and in that case, a small child, a 5-year-old child, was hit by a truck. Okay, truck or a tanker. I'm not sure, but that small girl was hit by a truck or a tanker, and she expired. As she expired, she died. What happened? The what you call family went and sought the court for compensation. As they sought the court for compensation, the court said that while we are giving the compensation, we are also making an observation that right to walk, right to walk is also a fundamental right under Article 21. Right? It's saying that right to walk is also a fundamental right under Article 21. Now, why is that very important? The reason it is very important is because uh, many pedestrians face a problem. Pedestrians, who are pedestrians? Pedestrians are nothing but people who walk on the road, right? Pedestrians are people who walk on the road, and they face many problems because they have broken footpaths. Footpaths are there. If you actually see, each and every day you see some or the other government work happening on the road, and due to that government work happening on the road, what will the government do? It will obviously dig all the pavements and the footpaths that are there, and they'll install the lines. So what is happening? All the people who have actually place to walk are now walking on the roads. Now, who is responsible for that? Obviously, it's government. Right. First thing is that broken footpaths. Second thing, street vendors. Now, we should not call them as footpaths. We should call them as vendor paths. Mainly because if you actually see, no one is actually walking on the footpath. Only vendors are parking there, or what vehicles, or what you call, putting their stalls onto the footpaths. That is what is happening. That is why it is another problem for pedestrians. And third problem is that what you call, high amount of debris. High amount of debris. Any construction work is happening, anything is happening, all they will do, what they'll do is they'll put all of the uh, material onto the pavements. And the fourth thing, obviously, is that whenever there is parking, right, you can see that every people are parking on the roads, they're parking on the pavements, right, they're parking on the footpaths also. So that is why many pedestrians actually walk on the roads, right? Why are they walking on the roads? Because they have broken footpaths. Many street vendors are parking on what you call, putting their stalls on the footpaths. Many what you call, debris is present on the footpaths. And lastly, there is high amount of parking that is happening on the footpaths. While all of this is happening, what is happening? Many people are walking on the roads. That is why it is a danger for the people. And in the same way, how it is a danger for the pedestrians, it is also a danger for people who actually drive the vehicle. If you actually see, just because we do not have footpaths, what are they doing? They're actually walking. Imagine just one person is walking, it's fine. If what if 10, 15 people are walking and the road is very small, right? Let's say the road is this much only. Let's say the road is this much and the pavement or the footpath is actually broken. So people have to walk on this. So people are occupying this much of space on the road, and all the vehicles come from here. Now in India, you obviously know many people, what happens? They do not focus on driving a lot. They focus on reaching to the location. Right? They do not focus on what is there on the road, who is there on the road, where should we stop, what speed should we go. They do not focus on all of these. They only focus on the goal, that is reaching the location. So to reach that location, they'll go as much speed as they want. Okay, so that is another problem. They might actually hit someone and they might injure someone, as it happened in this particular case, right? So that is another problem that is there with this particular payments. Okay, and the main argument is in this particular editorial is that while the Supreme Court has said you need to bring in, or you are saying that it is a right to life under Article 21, but are you bringing in laws? Is there any implementation that is happening? No, because the rights of pedestrians is not under one particular law, right? There's no particular law saying that these are the rights of pedestrians. It is divided into multiple organizations, right? We have municipal organizations, we have regulatory organizations, we have construction organizations. All of these organizations together have some laws which pertain to pedestrians. That's it, nothing else. When all of this is happening, we cannot clearly say that this particular law is for pedestrian, this particular law is not for pedestrians, right? When that happens, there's no way you can compensate people, or no way you can actually resolve things. Okay, first thing is bringing in a law for pedestrians. That is the first aspect. Second aspect is that there are many conflicting laws for the pedestrians. We are saying that we have vendors being an obstacle for all the pedestrians, but there is protection of vendors law, protection of vendors, protection of vendors livelihood act in 2014. What does it say? It says that obviously you have to protect the livelihood of the vendors. If you are protecting the livelihood of vendors, they obviously have to stay where they are. If they are not staying where they are, what is happening? You're not protecting their livelihood. So is it conflicting or not? It's conflicting. You want the footpath, you also want the pedestrians or the vendors to have their livelihood. These are two conflicting parts. So that is one aspect of this particular issue. And the second issue is that there are many other missions which have actually worked properly, right? Like the Swachh Bharat mission has worked, and the Tobacco Act has worked. All these acts have worked. while these acts have worked, the editorial is urging for bringing in a pedestrian law that would ensure good rights for the pedestrians and ensure that proper protection is given for all the protections. Right. This again article is something that you can use in GS2, mainly in governance aspect, right? And you can also use it in maybe ethics, right? Right? These are the aspects where you can use this particular information. So I don't think there's much information in today's newspaper, right? It was actually a little boring for me to study the newspaper. But okay, you have to study it as your duty for you to clear the UPSC. So I would request you guys to study the newspaper thoroughly, right? And that's it for today's newspaper. Thank you guys. Hope you guys have learned a lot. See you.